Welcome to this short tutorial about data publishing from SciLifeLab Data Center. In this tutorial, we focus on the SciLifeLab data repository for supporting data publishing. Go to figshare.sciliflab.se or use the QR code. Data publishing and why it matters. Publishing your data, code, software, or other research-related resources will make them available to others to use. This will allow others in the research community to reuse, validate, or train. By sharing openly, you adhere to open science and FAIR principles. Publishing will give your datasets a permanent identifier, a DOI, and enable your datasets to be cited similarly to other research publications, like articles or books. Publishing your data and linking to, for example, your ORCID will also enable you to gain academic credit for your work. Data publishing, hence to make your data available to others, contributes to better research. To choose the right repository for your data is a very important first step. Does your data contain sensitive or personal information? If it does, you cannot share it openly. If it doesn't, you can choose from a domain-specific data repository. These are your first choices. If there is no domain-specific repository, you can use a general data repository. Some institutions have their own institutional data repository, and then you're recommended to use these. The SciLifeLab data repository is an institutional repository for life science data. So, can I publish anything in the SciLifeLab data repository? No, you can only publish data that you have the right to publish. And you cannot publish any sensitive data in the SciLifeLab data repository. However, we do have the option to publish what we call a metadata record. The metadata record for sensitive data can be published, but not the data itself. So what can I publish? You can publish a number of different items in the repository, for example, datasets, preprints, posters, etc. You'll find the full list of possible items in the submission guidelines. Can I publish code? Yes, it is possible to integrate both GitLab, GitHub, and Bitbucket to allow for an easy synchronization and publication of repositories for these services. Can I publish a metadata record for data I cannot share? Yes, you can publish a metadata record for data you are not openly sharing. It can contain a description, a data access criteria, and contact information to the authors. So, why use a SciLifeLab data repository? The data is made citable through its DOI. It can store the output in almost any format. It connects the data with its publication. It's also indexed by Google Dataset Search and Google Scholar, and it connects the data to its funding through the Dimensions database. In addition, it's integrated with GitLab, GitHub, and Bitbucket, as well as ORCID. Your data is thereby made very easy to find. It also increases the fairness of your data. So what kind of items do we have in the repository? There are open items, items under embargo, and items with request access. The most common published item types are datasets, figures, presentations, online resources, and posters. A very common question is if a researcher can share their item with reviewers before the item is published. Yes, we do have this feature, so you can generate a so-called private link for the item and share this with reviewers or collaborators before the item is published. So, a few practical things about submission of items. You can easily log in using your normal university authentication if you're working or affiliated to a Swedish university or institute. So, how do I submit something? We recommend that you first go through the submission guidelines and follow the workflow. These are found on sciliflab.se/data/repository/submission. The items will go through a review process, and we also have a curation support. And if you're unsure if your data should really be shared in a general repository, maybe it should be shared in a domain-specific repository, and you need help, you're very welcome to contact us at figshare@SciLifeLab.se. In addition, I would just like to mention a few very useful options that we offer as features, and these are to add your item to a project or a collection. So projects, these are collaborative spaces used for ongoing work. Here you can upload data that is in progress and also have collaborators make comments. You can also collaborate with people outside of SciLifeLab by inviting them specifically to work in your project. Collections, these are a way of collating data and bringing it together under a common theme. The collections can either be made private or public, and a collection can also have its separate assigned UI. If you need support, please contact SciLifeLab Data Repository, which is maintained by a dedicated team from the SciLifeLab Data Center at figshare@scilifelab.se. Thank you for listening.